They want you to look at the shape. They want you to talk about the wingspan. They want you to focus on the undeniable cool factor of a flying wing aircraft cutting through the clouds. But if you are only looking at the physical airframe of the B-21 Raider, you have already fallen for the distraction. You are looking at the shell, completely missing the absolute terror of the machine underneath. The Pentagon has just released the most detailed, intimate images of the Raider to date. We are talking about the April 2026 mid-air refueling milestones over the Mojave Desert. To the untrained eye, to the casual observer scrolling through defense blogs, it is just a plane getting gas from a KC-135 Stratotanker. To us, it is a confession. We just saw the auxiliary air intakes in a configuration that confirms our absolute worst fears about advanced Chinese and Russian radar networks. They are already entirely obsolete. I'm James. Welcome back to the Hidden Muster. Today, we are not just doing a standard aircraft review. We are performing a deep trace analysis. We are going to rip through the heavily guarded layers of the B-21's digital ghost architecture to show you exactly why this is not merely a bomber. It is a ghost in the machine that has already won the next major global conflict before the first shot has even been fired.
Let us begin with the geometry of silence. Standard stealth is about angles. You bounce radar waves away from the receiver. But the B-21 has taken this to a realm of physics that borders on the supernatural. Look closely at the April 2026 refueling shots taken by independent photographers. You see those small triangular doors opening up on the top of the fuselage behind the cockpit. Those are the auxiliary air intakes. They open during low-speed, high-angle of attack maneuvers like aerial refueling or takeoff to feed the deeply buried Pratt & Whitney engines. In a traditional stealth aircraft, every single hole is a catastrophic liability. Every gap, every seam, every open door is a cavity for radar waves to enter, bounce around, and return to the enemy receiver as a massive, glowing return signature. The fact that Northrop Grumman was able to engineer these auxiliary intakes to blend seamlessly into the Lambda wing design tells us something absolutely critical about the surface material technology. We are no longer talking about the first-generation radar-absorbent paint on the F-117 Nighthawk or even the fragile coatings of the B-2 Spirit. We are talking about active metamaterials. This is a composite skin that can fundamentally manipulate electromagnetic waves, bending them around the airframe much like water flowing effortlessly around a smooth river stone. When those auxiliary doors open, by all known laws of 20th century physics, the B-21 should light up like a beacon on enemy radar screens, but it does not. Why? Because the onboard software is compensating in real time. It adjusts the active stealth signatures to continuously mask the gap. You are looking at an aircraft that literally heals its own radar cross-section every millisecond. The serpentine exhaust ducts bury the thermal signature so effectively that to a heat-seeking missile, the exhaust plume of the B-21 Raider looks identical to a patch of cold, high-altitude ambient air.
This brings us to the operational reality exposed in April 2026. The mid-air refueling tests with the KC-135R Stratotanker over Edwards Air Force Base were not just a photo opportunity, they were a strategic warning shot across the bow of every adversarial nation on Earth. The ability to refuel in flight is fundamental to projecting power globally, but the B-21 changes the math of aerial logistics entirely. Listen to the telemetry from Air Force Chief of Staff Ken Welsbach. He explicitly stated that the B-21's fuel efficiency is one of the core components of its lethality. The B-21 is, without question, the most fuel-efficient heavy bomber ever constructed by human hands. Because it is physically smaller than the B-2 Spirit, with a wingspan estimated between 145 and 155 feet compared to the B-2's 172 feet, and because it utilizes next-generation commercial derivative turbine technology, it sips jet fuel. Why does this matter? In a Pacific conflict, the tanker bridge is the most vulnerable target. If an enemy can shoot down the massive non-stealth KC-135s or KC-46s, the stealth fighters and bombers run out of gas and fall into the ocean. The B-21's extreme fuel efficiency radically reduces the demand on the theater tanker fleet. It means this aircraft does not need a massive armada of vulnerable tankers following it to the edge of the dark zone. It can launch from Ellsworth Air Force Base in South Dakota, refuel safely over friendly territory, strike deep into the heart of the most heavily defended airspace on the planet, loiter for hours, and return, all while the enemy air defense commanders are still screaming at empty radar screens.
Here is the monumental pattern change that separates the Raider from every aircraft that has come before it. In the 20th century, the paradigm was simple. We built combat planes, we flew them into combat, and we fixed them when they inevitably broke. The B-21 has entirely flipped that script. Every physical B-21 rolling off the production line at Plant 42 in Palmdale, California, has a digital twin. This is a 100% accurate, continuously updating virtual clone living inside a highly classified, ultra-secure cloud environment. This is not a flight simulator for pilots. This is a living, breathing digital organism. Every single hour the tail number AF-0001 spends in the physical air over the Mojave Desert, its digital twin is running a massive parallel simulation. If a sensor on the real physical wing feels an unexpected harmonic vibration during a high G-turn, the digital twin immediately analyzes the microscopic stress placed on the carbon fiber composites. It cross-references millions of data points across the entire fleet in seconds. By the time the human pilot touches down on the tarmac, the ground crew is not wasting hours checking the plane for issues. They are walking out to the runway holding the exact hydraulic actuator that the digital twin told them would fail in exactly 6 hours of further flight time. This is the doctrine of predictive lethality. It means the B-21 does not experience traditional downtime. Legacy bombers like the B-1 Lancer or the B-2 Spirit spend massive portions of their service lives disassembled in climate-controlled hangars. The B-21 is designed to be a weapon system with a 99% mission-capable heart rate. It is always ready to kill.
We must now descend into the data matrix. The Pentagon proudly calls the B-21 the world's first cloud-native aircraft. What does that actually mean for the warfighter? It means the B-21 is essentially a flying, stealth-shielded supercomputer that just happens to have a bomb bay. In the battlefields of 2026 and beyond, we are fighting in a data desert. If low Earth orbit satellites are jammed or physically destroyed by anti-satellite missiles, traditional fighters become completely blind and deaf. But the B-21 is designed to act as its own satellite network. Utilizing its open systems architecture, it employs multi-spectral data fusion. It silently vacuums up raw electronic intelligence from every friendly drone, ship, and ground sensor in the hemisphere, scrubs out the electronic noise, and generates a perfect God view of the entire battle space. Because of its open architecture,
Updating the B-21 does not require tearing the fuselage apart over 5 years, which was the tragedy of the B-52 modernization programs. If a new, previously unknown Russian or Chinese radar frequency is detected on a Tuesday, software engineers can write a patch, push it through the encrypted cloud, and update the entire B-21 fleet's electronic warfare suites by Wednesday morning. It is a smartphone approach to strategic nuclear bombers. The radar does not just hide, it acts as an invisible force multiplier. It can loiter undetected over an enemy capital for 24 hours, absorbing data, identifying mobile ballistic missile launchers, and feeding exact targeting coordinates back to the fleet, completely orchestrating the destruction of an enemy nation without ever dropping a single piece of ordnance itself. It is the quarterback of the digital sky.
This is the layer of the deep trace analysis that the general public finds deeply uncomfortable, and it is a reality that military planners are heavily relying upon. The B-21 Raider has been explicitly designed from its very inception to be optionally manned. For a standard 15-hour deterrence patrol launching from Whiteman Air Force Base, Missouri, flying to the edge of the South China Sea and returning, you want human pilots in the seats. You want human intuition, human morality, and human adaptability when managing a nuclear payload. But warfare is rarely standard. For a Day Zero strike, a mission plunging directly into the heart of the most heavily fortified, densely layered integrated air defense systems on the planet, what analysts call a high attrition environment, the B-21 can fly itself. The Air Force can send this multi-hundred-million-dollar asset into a kill zone where they mathematically expect a 50% aircraft loss rate, and they can do it without risking a single American life. Furthermore, an artificial intelligence flying the aircraft is not bound by the frailties of human biology. A human pilot will black out under extreme gravitational forces, and AI will not. An AI can optimize its flight path, adjusting its roll, pitch, and yaw for fractions of a millimeter every second to maintain the absolute lowest possible radar cross-section relative to an enemy transmitter. It takes the knife fighter philosophy of extreme tactical agility and applies it to a long-range strategic asset. It can control a swarm of collaborative combat aircraft, stealth drones that fly 50 miles ahead of the Raider, acting as the eyes, ears, and kinetic shields for the main bomber.
The final and most devastating secret revealed in the early months of 2026 is not about the software, and it is not about the airframe. It is about the sheer, overwhelming scale of the industrial machine backing this aircraft. In February of 2026, the Department of the Air Force and Northrop Grumman executed an agreement to massively expand the production capacity of the Raider fleet. Backed by $4.5 billion in funding from the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, they increased annual production capacity by a staggering 25%. Furthermore, the head of U.S. Strategic Command, Admiral Richard Correll, went on record stating that the Air Force needs to increase its planned B-21 fleet from the baseline requirement of 100 aircraft to a minimum of 145 airplanes. They are openly discussing standing up a completely second, parallel production line. Why this sudden, massive acceleration? Why pour billions into a second line before the first aircraft has even entered operational service? Because the Pentagon realized something revolutionary. The B-21 is actually far cheaper to operate and maintain than the aircraft it is replacing. The strategy here is not just military, it is economic warfare. When you possess a fleet of 145 invisible, hyper-networked bombers, traditional defensive warfare becomes an absolute impossibility for your adversaries. You cannot build enough surface-to-air missiles to shoot down ghosts. The rapid scaling of the B-21 Raider forces hostile nations to spend trillions of dollars developing experimental, desperate countermeasures that will likely never work, while the United States spends a fraction of that cost on a proven flying platform. The B-21 is an economic sledgehammer designed to systematically bankrupt the opposition before the first bomb bay doors ever swing open.
The B-21 Raider is not an evolution. It is an extinction-level event for traditional air defense paradigms. It is the most sophisticated, lethally optimized piece of machinery ever forged by human engineering. It represents a flawless fusion of advanced physics, self-healing software, and cold-blooded strategic dominance. The photographs we witnessed in April 2026 over the Mojave Desert were not just a successful test flight or a clever public relations stunt. They were a deliberate, calculated warning. They proved that the digital ghost is no longer just a concept living in a Northrop Grumman server farm. It is real. It is in the sky, right now, drinking fuel, processing data, and rewriting the rules of global power projection. And if you are sitting in a command bunker on the other side of the world and you happen to see the B-21 Raider on your radar screen, understand that it is only because the B-21 decided to let you see it. And by that point, it is already too late. I am James. This has been a deep trace analysis for the hidden muster. If you want to stay ahead of the curve, if you want to understand the machines that actually dictate the future of human conflict, you know what to do. Watch the telemetry, ignore the press releases, and stay in the shadows. We are out.